what we gonna learn today is software development methodology.
Okay.
So in the previous call, if you
Hmm.
remember, we discussed about how a project starts, how generally IT team works together,
Huh.
how a business analyst does the business analysis, and what are their roles, responsibilities day to day life, what
Yeah.
challenges they face, and how they are able to solve it. Like it was a very generic and basic discussion which we had.
Right.
Okay. Now in this call, we gonna deep dive into all those points only. Okay, but in
Hmm.
more organized way. So to start with, whenever a project comes up in any
Okay.
IT organization, okay,
Hmm.
there are lot of methodologies which are being documented back in 90s,
Hmm. Hmm.
okay, and earlier than that as well, but they are being used currently as well.
Got it.
Okay, so first this IT organization decide that what
Hmm.
methodology we should use for this particular project.
Okay.
Okay, so there are few methodologies which are actually generic and are used heavily in the industry, but still there you might see some projects or some organizations using a different model as well. Depends on
Right.
the requirement of the model, kind
Hmm.
of the project they are getting, kind of client they are dealing with,
Hmm.
and the sort of infrastructure the IT company is holding.
Okay.
And there can be many more reasons as well.
Hmm.
Okay. So how generally, so currently, whenever you go to any MNC, you will hear a word called Agile. You will hear another word called Waterfall.
Waterfall. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So let's go into it. So these both are approach to
Hmm.
complete a particular project. Okay.
Okay.
To start with the project, to deal with it, and to successfully complete it. So
Huh.
both approach any organization can use, and mostly you will hear these words. And in Waterfall and Agile, most of the time we have seen that Agile is used compared
Okay.
to Waterfall.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean that we can ignore Waterfall, because again there are specific case scenarios where Waterfall model will do better than Agile.
Okay.
Okay. So let's start with Waterfall approach and then we will jump to Agile and so on and so forth.
Huh.
Okay. So when we gather the requirement in Waterfall, okay,
Okay.
we document everything.
Okay.
There is a document called BRD, Business Requirement Document.
BRD.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is created by a business analyst only, and they
Hmm.
document it in Waterfall approach. Once we have written all the requirement in that document and
Okay.
we have received the sign off from the client,
Hmm.
we will just start the project. We not never gonna change what is being written in that BRD.
Okay.
Okay. Now once this document is signed off, requirement is done, we will go to the design phase,
Hmm.
and here we will create a detailed design.
Okay.
Okay. So I will not tell you about Agile currently. Let's discuss Waterfall only. So
Hmm.
when I
Hmm.
when it is written detailed, it means you need to be very similar. You need to create a prototype which is very similar to the actual project.
So we have to do all these things.
So for design, there is a UI team in the organizations.
Huh.
Okay, there are developers as well. So generally, the developer, the business analyst will connect with the UI team, and the UI team will create the prototype. Generally, that's how it functions. But in many cases, business analysts also connect with the developers and the senior leads of the project, and they create the design.
Okay.
Okay.
So this waterfall approach is for like software development,
Yes, yes, yes.
like to figure out what I didn't get it. Why
Okay.
this approach is used?
Okay. So what we are doing here is, so let's say we come up with a project. So in the
Hmm.
previous call, we discussed there is a project where they want to migrate the data from on-premises to cloud.
Right.
Let's take the same example.
Huh.
Now, when it goes to the cloud, there would be a lot of tables. Like in Excel sheets, we have tables and columns and rows, right?
हाँ हाँ.
Similarly, in cloud, there will be a database, and inside that database, there would be a lot of tables. We're gonna discuss
Hmm.
this in upcoming calls, okay? The
Okay.
whole database structure, but I'm just giving you an idea.
हाँ.
Now, what we or as a as a team, what we need to do is we need to give them the structure of the tables at once
Hmm.
only.
Okay.
Okay. So in other methodologies, we give it, but then even if it is changed a bit, it doesn't matter much because we go with iterative process. But here we need to give only one prototype, and that should be very similar to what the actual product gonna look like or actual target state would be.
हाँ हाँ.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that is what we are trying to create using a lot of tools are there, like Figma is there, Lucid Chart
Hmm.
is there, and many other UI tools are there, which generally we use and we create the prototype and share with them.
Okay.
Even Canvas is also used in it.
हाँ हाँ.
Okay. Now, once the design is done and the client approves the design, the sign off
हाँ.
is done. Okay. Post that they will go with the implementation.
Okay. Okay.
They will develop the product and they will do the unit testing or whatever testing they are doing.
Hmm.
Once this is done, they will integrate everything which we discussed
Okay.
in the previous call, if you remember, SIT, System Integration Testing.
Integration testing. Yeah.
Okay, because they have created the whole product into
Hmm.
different modules. Now they combine all the module, they integrate it, and then they check whether the overall system is working or not.
Yeah.
Okay, so that verification is done.
Huh.
Once this is done, then they go for the deployment. And if
Okay.
let's say maintenance is also is part of the deal, then they will also give for a maintenance of the product. It can be for 1 year, for 5 years, for 10 years, depend what
Hmm.
deal they had. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the waterfall approach. Now in this approach, nothing gonna change. Once
Hmm.
the BRD is done, it's done. The discussion from the client is completed once the BRD is completed.
BRD's business.
Requirement document.
Okay.
Okay.
Huh.
Once it is done, the discussion with client, and once the client gives the kickoff, okay, done, go ahead with the project. Now, not even the client can change anything.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Once the design is being kick off by the client, again, we not gonna change the thing. It's gonna
Hmm.
start. And we directly complete all these and we deliver it to the client.
Okay.
So there are challenges also which we have with this particular format of delivering the project. We will discuss later on. Okay, but
How?
that's how the waterfall approach is.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's jump to what challenges one can face in this particular approach.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. So as you can see, inflexible to changes we discussed, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's suppose the client said, okay, I want this data to be available on cloud
Huh.
into 10 tables. So let's say from the source where they are
Hmm.
fetching the data, they have two table. Okay. And client said in the target table, let's have 10 tables. We
Hmm.
need to break these two table into 10.
Okay.
And we discussed this, we wrote this in the BRD and we are working on it. Now, after analyzing something, the client comes up and says, hey, I want just 8 tables. Can you do that? Or maybe I need 15 tables. Can you do that?
Huh.
Obviously we as a team would want to do that, but in this particular model, as per this model, we should not go ahead with this because here whatever preparation we are doing is not flexible.
Okay.
Okay. Second thing, late testing phase. So let's say we completed the project. As you
Hmm.
can see, we have done the design part. Now in the implementation part we are doing testing. Okay, we haven't tested the whole product during the design phase. What if
Okay.
when we
Hmm.
go start testing here and we figured out that okay, our third step was wrong only.
Correct.
Now we need to go back, do the reverse engineering and go back to that particular error or the issue, and we have to sort it, which can be which can take a lot of time, efforts as well, and sometimes you need to again start from the scratch. This has happened
Understood.
with a lot of projects. The new
Huh.
company took the project and they faced these challenges.
Hmm.
Okay, and again, high risk and uncertainty, because once you signed off, you just started working on something, and you don't know what the output would be. It gonna be same or not. If it is different, then that it's total wastage of time, money, and energy and resource.
Correct. Correct.
Right. So these are the cons. So generally, any organization go for waterfall approach when
Hmm.
they know it is the client is very clear with the requirement, and even we as a IT organization know or have already done it in the past, so we also have the confidence, okay, this is what the output would be and we would be able to deliver it.
Okay.
Generally in these cases they go with the waterfall approach.
Hmm.
Okay. If you see the pros, obviously from day one you have a very clear structure, you know
Yeah. Yeah.
what we are supposed to do, easy to
Hmm.
manage because now the client or no one can come up and say, hey, can you do this, can you do that, so you are sorted.
Yeah.
Okay, and you go with lot of documentation.
Okay.
This is very important part.
Huh.
For everything
Expensive.
you document, for everything you are going to document, because no one should come up and say, hey, this was part of our project and you didn't do it.
Yeah.
You should
Yeah.
have a document to show, okay, hey, I think you are misunderstood or there is any miscommunication, and this is what we are supposed to deliver.
Right.
Okay.